If you're too busy to think, you're too busy. Period. Bill Gates has a famous habit of taking 1 week out of the year and just secluding himself off to some cabin in the woods where there's nothing but himself. No calls, no meetings, no connections, no technology, just the sound of his voice echoing back to himself as he thinks about all the things that he wants to develop and all the things that he wants to iron out in his life. Sure, he may be a multi-billionaire, but that doesn't mean that it's a habit that we can't take a little piece of for ourselves. Now, I of course do it a bit differently since, I don't have millions of dollars just laying around where I can buy some cabin off in the woods and ship myself off to there. Although I'd love to get within reach of that pretty soon. For now, that means that most days I just start them out with a walk to my nearest coffee shop, while listening to an audiobook or just letting my mind wander however it pleases while listening to some background noise. And since this is a video about business, that's usually what most of these thoughts revolve around. What are my business goals for the year? How do I break them down appropriately to a week, a month, and a quarterly level? Should I work with X person or not? How do I renegotiate these terms? What video ideas can I create to reach the greatest number of leads possible? Sure, sometimes they're fairly mundane, but other times they can be quite pivotal. I made a video a while back about my plan to reach 4K per month for the year, which I'm still working on that. I just didn't have a lot of time in the past week with all the projects and the final exams nonsense that I'm going through right now. But the very idea for the video and for the goal came about during a walk. I had vaguely known that I wanted to reach that number, but I didn't exactly put pen to paper about how I would do that or what metrics I needed to hit for it to be a reality. But me taking that walk made me realize that I need to do X number of reach outs, which I wasn't doing, to get X number of clients, which I didn't have, to reach that X number of revenue for the month every month. Taking the whole entire math of it into account that, $200 a week for 5 clients or $250 for 4 clients and keep that for an entire month to reach 4K, that sort of thing. And it's not like this is just being lazy or some unproven, unorthodox idea. In deep work, one of the points in the chapters is literally just be lazy. And the one after that for the first reason is downtime aids insights. And then it just goes on about how our conscious mind is better for some clear, strict information where you're trying to do math, for example, and our unconscious mind is better for things that are a lot of generally vague, unclear information and sometimes even conflicting, where it has to marry them up together into something cohesive for you to learn. And at least in my own experience, what it says makes perfect sense. I've had some of my best video ideas or hunches to investigate the best outreach methods come from completely random times, when I was just right before going to sleep or right after waking up. It's why we get our aha moments in the hot shower or get sayings like sleep on it. If you're up to your ears every day in work, then you're not giving yourself any time to process what you're actually going through and let your mind wander into sometimes very helpful insights. Strangely enough, doing things that aren't work sometimes can help you in doing work. Plus, it doesn't exactly help with being happy. Don't get me wrong, I love the entire process of what I do from start to finish most of the time, but you can't help but feel dejected if you're going through all of your work and at the end of the day you're left with 30 minutes that you're just gonna have to use to take a shower, brush your teeth, and just get ready for bed, and then the next day starts all over again. I think that no matter how much you really love something, I think you also just need some time for other things, which are just for relaxation or just winding down. But even with all that, because I know you're thinking to yourself that, I don't have any time in the entire day. And this is where I think it's important to highlight that there is a stark difference between being busy and being productive. Productive is if I do 100 reach outs, then I'll get a client that gives me $1,000 a month. There is a clear line from action to result to the goal that you want. Busy is if I do this random errand that I'll probably need 4 months down the line, then I'll probably feel better, which will probably help me make better work. It's all just vague and not directly causal to whatever you want. Or send this email to X person about Y thing that I know they can figure it out if I just leave them. We're bound to have errands and duties in our lives that we know for a fact do not matter, but we also know that we can't ignore them. I mean, I just talked about how my college nonsense has taken up a whole lot of time unnecessarily. It's why I've been blazing through the projects as fast as I could. But there is value in knowing how to say no and using that as much as humanly possible. A lot of the times in my life, my busyness was a product of my own making, even though sometimes there were obligations that I know I didn't have to say yes to them, but I did just because I thought it was easier. Focusing too much on things that don't matter, taking up too much time without justifying their existence. Learning German was a goal for the year for me. It still is, but I recognize for a fact that it's not an entirely essential thing. I won't need it for a year and something down the line, and I can still learn it then. But it's causing me issues for the goals that I value right here and right now, and so it had to go. Your situation will obviously differ to mine, but think about the things that you can just altogether remove or hand off to someone else. A lot of the times these obligations we know for a fact do not matter, but we just feel too awkward and too shy to say just no to directly. It's a must so we can all reach the greatness that we want, because years down the line, I know I'll regret not hitting my goals more than I will regret not just doing this random obligation that was just pushed onto me without me saying yes to it. Speaking of goals, I really need to refresh on the client thing. It's been a week. This video will probably be a good idea, or I also haven't been exactly waking up at the right time more, so 6 a.m. rather than my usual 4. I should also really watch this video. They will probably help me quite a bit, and hopefully will for you as well. But I know you're gonna do way better than me, so how about tagging along this story so we can see how it ends? Sup! Sup, I said! Sup! Bye!